Let's start with what exactly is a bar note. Hello everybody, Silverpicker here, and welcome to the Silverpicker Squad. Now, today's video is all about rare banknotes worth money that you can still find in circulation. Now, this is actually going to be the second video in what is now going to be a series on these kind of rare banknotes. And if you missed the first one is all about what are called web notes. And you can watch that video right over here if you missed it. Web notes are a fascinating rare bill that you can still find in circulation today. But today we are going to be talking about a different rare banknote that you can still find in circulation. And in fact, it may even be hiding unbeknownst to you in your own banknote collection. And of course, what we're talking about today is the Barr note, and that's what I have right over here. Now, the Barr note is a super interesting banknote because, in a sense, it was only printed for 28 days. Yes, I would say that that's pretty rare. Now, what we're going to do today in this video is we're going to talk about what is a Barr note, how to identify it, and of course, what you're all excited about, what it's worth. So there are some interesting things about that and what it's worth and its rarity, and we'll get to that later in the video. But for now, let's start with what exactly is a Barr note. So what exactly is a Barr note anyway? Well, the Barr in Barr note refers to Joseph Barr, who was the Undersecretary of the United States Treasury under President Lyndon Johnson. Henry Fowler was the Secretary of Treasury, but in 1968, he resigned and Joseph Barr took his place. So when the United States was going to print the 1968 $1 bills, Joseph Barr's signature was going to be on the bill. Well, that sounds pretty normal, right? That sounds like every Secretary of the United States Treasury. Well, the difference here is that Henry Fowler, his predecessor, resigned with less than a month left in his term, making Joseph Barr the shortest tenured United States Secretary of Treasury in United States history at just 28 days. That's right. So this bill was only printed for the tenure of his term, which was 28 days, which is absolutely mind-blowingly short. So that, you can see, is why these bills are so sought after by collectors. So, now that you know what a Barr note is, why don't we take a closer look at this one and see what the identifying features are so you know how to spot one when you see one in the wild. Alright, so let's take a look at the identifying features of the Barr note. Well, the first thing when we flip it onto the front side we notice is that on all Barr notes, George Washington himself tells you guys to smash that like button. Haha, very funny, I know, I went there. But seriously, it really does help me out a ton to click on the like button. I put a ton of work and effort into these videos, and when you hit the like button or leave a comment, it lets the YouTube algorithm know to share this video with more people like us and spread the word within the coin collecting, numismatic, and precious metals community. This encourages me to continue making awesome numismatic and precious metal content for you guys absolutely free. So come on, do me a solid, hit that like button. You know you want to, and according to this, it really is your civic duty. Well, anyway, seriously, let's take this out of this little plastic case and take a closer look. By the way, anyway, if you actually do want to support the channel in a more concrete way, you can click on the Amazon links below and you can buy your very own non-reactive acid-free holders for banknotes. And anything you buy through my Amazon links doesn't cost you a penny extra, but it does financially support the channel and help me continue making videos. So, end of plugs, I promise, end of plugs. So how do you actually identify a Barr note? Well, unlike web notes or other rare banknotes that might have more nuanced identifying features, the Barr note is actually really easy to identify. And that's because it has Joseph Barr's signature printed right on it. Absolutely, you can see the word Barr printed right on a Barr note. And that's obvious, of course, because the whole reason it's called a Barr note is because it has the shortest termed Secretary of the United States Treasury, Joseph Barr's signature on it. Easy peasy, right? Well, it's obvious for most of us to identify a Barr note based on that signature, but there are a lot of people who A, have trouble reading cursive on old banknotes, people who don't speak English as their native language, and also just people who aren't so familiar with United States banknotes. So there is one other way to identify a Barr note without even being able to read the signature. And that is, of course, by looking at the series date. Now, the Barr note was only issued in the $1 denomination, so there are no $5, $10, $20, $50, or $100 Barr note denominations, and it was only issued with the 1963B series date. So that's it, a $1 1963B series with Barr's signature is the unequivocal, undeniable way to determine whether what you are holding in your hand is actually a Barr note. Now, just to point out also, over here, this is the series date, not the printing date. So if you're wondering why, if Joseph Barr started his career at the end of 1968 as the Secretary of the United States Treasury and ended at the very beginning of 1969, how on earth is it a 1963 bill? Well, that's because the last time the bill was changed, it was the 1963 Series A, and when Barr took office, they changed it to the 1963B series. So that is how you identify a Barr note 100%. So even though I said that the Barr note only comes in the 1963B series in the $1 denomination, there are actually 5 different versions of that. And what I mean by that is that there are 5 different cities, Federal Reserves, that this note was printed for. So there is New York, which is like the one that I have right here, but in addition to New York, there's Richmond, Chicago, Kansas City, and San Francisco, with Kansas City having the lowest print run. You can actually see the different print run numbers right over here that I've put up on the screen. I think actually putting together a set of all 5 would be really, really cool. If you guys do have a set of all 5, I'd love to see you put it in the comments below and let us know how you assembled it. So, now that you know what a Barr note is, and how to identify one, I bet you all want to know what it's worth. Well, before I tell you that, I need to tell you a little bit of sobering news about this banknote. It's not that rare. Huh? Not that rare? Didn't you just spend the last 5 minutes telling me that it was only produced for 28 days, and it's only in this one series and one denomination? What do you mean not rare? Well, what I mean by not rare is that compared to high-end rare banknotes where only like a few thousand were ever produced, in this case, there were actually 458,880,000 Barr notes printed. That is a huge, huge number. To put it into perspective, you guys have seen this bill in my collection, right? This is the 1935A North Africa note. To put it into perspective, there were only 26,916,000 of these produced. So 26.9 million versus 458.8 million. So you can see that there is indeed, obviously, a pretty large number of Barr notes that were produced. So where does this actually leave us? Are they rare or not? Are they valuable or not? Well, I guess the answer really depends on your perspective. They certainly are rare to find in circulation and are worth well above face value, but you could also just go on eBay and without really breaking the bank, you can purchase one for yourself if you really want to. Now, I found this example in circulation. I was a bartender a few years ago and I would always look through the banknotes that we got as tips, and this one popped up. However, I didn't actually recognize it as a Barr note at the time. I didn't know what it was. I actually thought that it was just a 1963 note, which was worth it for me to take out of circulation and put in my collection. It was only later on when I learned what a Barr note was that I saw it in my collection and was pleasantly surprised. So what's it worth? Well, the highest value one that sold recently on eBay sold for $125 and it was in gem mint condition. So unlikely to find such a specimen in your wallet or even hiding in your collection. However, that being said, circulated specimens sell regularly for $5 to $10, with the Star Note version selling closer to $20 each. This makes sense given that only 12.3 million Barr notes were issued as Star Notes. So, are they worth a fortune? No, but there are 2 important reasons why it's important to know about them. One is that even if they're not worth a fortune, they're still worth something, and it's an amazing find worth several times face value that I was thrilled to find in circulation, and you would be too, I'm sure. And of course, refinding it again, hiding in my collection. And 2, arguably more important, is that as time goes on, these banknotes may actually appreciate in value. In the end of the day, no one really knows for sure how much this will be worth in 10, 20, or 100 years, but I can tell you that I was absolutely thrilled to find one in circulation. I know you guys would be too, and they certainly are worth more than face value. Well, that about about does it for this video. I hope you guys learned something, and if you did, consider subscribing. We have a lot of fun stuff on this channel learning about coins, banknotes, gold, silver, picking, thrifting, and just how to make a little bit extra money on your own terms. So hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, and be sure you don't miss anything. If you want to support the channel beyond hitting the like button and subscribing, check out the Amazon links below. Whatever you buy through those links will support my channel and won't cost you a dime. Or check out my exclusive Silver Picker merch. Get yourself a tee, a hoodie, or a coffee cup. In any case, thank you so much for watching. I've got a lot more awesome stuff coming down the pike, so stay tuned, and until next time, Silver Picker out.